There are 3 important trials coming up in the next month that have been a long time coming. The West case, the Stout case, and the Daybell case. In today's video, we're going to get into the West case. That happened in December of 2020. 2 little California brothers, Orrin, who was 4 years old, and Orson, 3, were allegedly murdered by their adoptive parents, and their bodies are still yet to be found. And in the following videos this week, we'll tackle the Stout case and the Daybell case. The Stout case is where in January of 2020, an 11-year-old little Colorado boy named Gannon was murdered allegedly by his wicked stepmother, Letitia. His body was found 1,400 miles away in Florida in a suitcase that was just thrown over a bridge. And finally, the Daybell case where 2 kids, JJ age 7 and Tylee 16, who was just short of her 17th birthday, were murdered. Their mother Lori and her 5th husband Chad are on trial, although recently their trials have been split. They are also on trial for the murder of Chad's then wife Tammy. It is a complete gong show. The murders all occurred in the span of a month back in 2019. The kids were buried in Chad's yard, and the wife, Tammy at the time, died in the home. The kids still haven't been laid to rest. And finally, these trials are all about to take place, and almost at the same time. So things are going to get very, very busy really soon. So today, I'll give you an update on the West case and where that case is at, when the trial will start, how long it'll run for, plus some interesting notable moments that have happened in this case. In the following days, you'll see my videos pop up on the Stout case and also on the Daybell case. It's time for justice. It's more than time for these trials to take place, and it's time to lay out the whole truth and time for the families of the victims to rest finally and begin healing. So now, let's get into it. 2 little brothers, 4-year-old Orrin West and 3-year-old Orson West, were reported missing by their adoptive parents on December 21st, 2020 from their home in California City, California. Orrin and Orson's biological names are Sincere and Classic. Now, according to documents, Orrin and Orson actually vanished around 3 months before the adoptive parents reported them missing, and that they were killed at that time. Now, their bodies have not been found to date. In 2022, Jacqueline and Trezell West were arrested and charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder, 2 counts of child cruelty, falsely reporting an emergency. Remember that 3-month gap between when they were killed and when they were actually reported missing, and involuntary manslaughter and conspiracy. Involuntary manslaughter is defined under California law as when a person commits a crime or a lawful act in an unlawful manner that causes the death of another person, but they did not intend to kill and did not act with conscious disregard for human life. And involuntary manslaughter is said to cover a variety of scenarios in general. For example, swallowing drugs that the parents may have left in the open, or failure by a caretaker to provide proper nutrition, or refusing to get medical care for serious symptoms, etc. Now, also among these charges against Jacqueline and Trezell is an allegation that they induced a minor to assist in committing a crime, suggesting that at least one of their other children witnessed what happened and will be called to testify. The Wests have 2 biological children and 2 other adopted kids. The pair pled not guilty and wanted the case to be thrown out and dismissed, but so far the trial is moving forward. Back in December 2020, the day the boys were reported missing, Trezell told the authorities that the boys were playing outside while he was gathering some firewood in his backyard. He said he went inside, and when he came back out, the boys were gone. His wife Jacqueline was said to be wrapping Christmas presents. She also corroborated the story, and what a story it was. Some notable moments in this case is when Trezell and Jacqueline called the authorities. Trezell hopped in his vehicle and did a little zoom around the neighborhood for a couple of blocks and then decided to come back to the house. I think my memory serves me correct, about 6-minute drive. And then he stood by a tree back at his place waiting for the cops to arrive. Jacqueline did absolutely nothing. And that's all on camera. Now, I don't know about you, but as a mother, if my children whose children would be about 3 or 4 years old, and they go missing, right away, I'm going to zip around the house and I'm going to be running around the neighborhood looking for my children and knocking on doors, talking to neighbors. Wouldn't you? Not hop in a vehicle and zoom around looking for a 3 and 4-year-old. I mean, what 3 or 4-year-old sticks to the sidewalks? Not many. And remember, according to the parents, Trezell just went inside, and by the time he came out, that these children were gone. Not that that doesn't happen, but you know how many doors they actually knocked on? Just stick a number in the comments before I tell you. Ready? Not one. They didn't ask one neighbor, with the exception of Trezell saying that he asked someone while he was driving if they saw some little black kids running around.
I even talked to a gentleman on that side, one of those streets over there. I said, did you see some little black kids?
Now, the immediate neighbor had them on video camera, should see the house on video camera, which just so happened to show the backyard. And the kids were nowhere to be seen at all. And of course, that makes sense now that we know the boys were gone months before that. Now, one of the most talked about aspects in this case was when Jacqueline and Trezell gave an interview about the kids going missing. It was ridiculous. They stood out on the street with their masks on and they gave the performance, in my opinion, of a lifetime. I did do a red flag video on that interview. I'll have that below. And I broke down the video and outed their lies sentence by sentence. It was a video that I worked on, I spent a lot of time on, and it is an original. A side note, there's a little copycat going around thinking that this person can claim it as their own, and has, not once but twice, but we know the truth. I know the truth. That's all I got to say about that. We move on. So now the trial is about to begin, almost 1 year since the Wests were arrested and charged. Now, the original date of the trial was supposed to be May of last year. It was pushed out to July, and also it was supposed to be in October. Now, jury selection begins March 20th to March 24th of this year. And opening statements start on March 28th. Closing arguments will be on June 1st and deliberations on June 2nd. Now the question is, will this be televised? I'm not sure if it will be televised or not. I've been searching for that answer on it. If you know that, please help out below and let us know, and where to watch. Now, in a recent hearing on March 8th, this was to go over something called a trombetta motion, which is a motion where there's a request to dismiss the case because evidence has been destroyed or lost. So far, there hasn't been a decision made that I'm aware of, and as of the time of the recording of this video, but stay tuned for the answer to that. The ruling is supposed to be made public, but not the details of it. Now, there has been several lawsuits that have stemmed from this case. The biological mother of the boys, her name is Ryan Dean, and the grandmother are suing the Department of Human Services for $40 million. Now, they allege that social workers violated their civil rights when removing the brothers from their care despite fulfilling every requirement to regain their custody. In 2016, their mother, Ryan, was suspected of child abuse after she took Oren to the hospital for a broken leg. He broke it while he was under a babysitter's care. The parents were cleared of child abuse, but Oren, known at the time as Sincere, his bio name, was removed from the home and placed with a foster parent. The mom filed requests and completed parenting classes to regain custody without success. So in 2017, she gave birth to Orson, his bio name Classic, only to have him removed a week later. He was only 11 days old. Now, according to documents, it said that the Kern County Sheriff's deputies had to remove the baby because they removed siblings together. And then in 2018, the brothers were removed from a foster home and placed with Jacqueline and Trezell. During visits with their kids, the mother noticed that the brothers seemed scared and were losing weight, and that Orson had scratches on his face. She requested to regain custody, but was denied by DHS. And then in 2020, the Wests formally adopted Oren and Orson. But this $40 million lawsuit was dismissed because it was said it lacks a factual basis to prove the allegations. Then there's a second lawsuit. The maternal grandfather, his name is Leaf Dean, is also suing DHS for the amount of $100 million, saying his civil rights were also violated when the boys were given to the Wests. A scheduling conference is set for March the 27th. Stay tuned for that. The third lawsuit is from the bio father Charles Pettis and the paternal grandmother. And they are also suing the Kern County Human Services Department and the State of California Social Services Department. The lawsuit alleges that Child Protective Services negligently and wrongfully placed the boys with people outside of friends and family, which ended up being Trezell and Jacqueline West. The documents say when it came time for the West to try to adopt the children, the Pettis family was not given a chance to take the kids back. The biological grandparents were not given the chance to take the kids back. The grandparents asked Human Services to let them take in the boys, and their lawyer said they ignored those requests. They went against protocol and did not prioritize the family members taking in these boys and putting them in foster care. Their lawyer also said that Kern County is trying to get the case dismissed by filing a motion claiming the family doesn't have the facts to support their allegations. So the major question lies, where the heck are the boys? Where are their bodies? Will they ever find them? And what evidence do they have? Does the prosecution have enough evidence that a jury will convict Jacqueline and Trezell West? And what about this Trombetta motion? And how did the system fail these children, these little boys, so terribly? What do you think will happen in this case? Are you hopeful, or do you think they'll walk as Barry Morphew did in the Suzanne Morphew case? Be sure to check out my videos in the description box below. I'll also have the playlist here, and you can see the red flag case right here. Be on the lookout for Letitia's video and Lori Vallow Daybell in the days coming. Their time is coming. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.